Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Pixel, and today on the Sapphire Tech YouTube channel we're going to be taking a quick look at the performance difference between DirectX 11 and DirectX 12 in the recently released Dying Light 2. All the footage that you're about to see was captured using AMD Relive, and the performance overlay was provided by Radeon statistics server. The system we used was rocking the SAPPHIRE Nitro RX 6800 XT graphics card, the AMD Ryzen 7 5800X CPU, 64GB of 3600MHz memory, and the game was running off a dedicated M.2 NVMe SSD. We played the game running maxed out, barring any ray tracing features, and at a native 1440p resolution without any upscaling. For some reason, when running the game in DirectX 11 mode, we did notice that our performance overlay appeared to look extremely washed out. I don't know why this is, but barring that, everything else appeared to work fine. From time to time, you may also notice that the lighting between the two shots can look a little bit different. Though, as far as I'm aware, this is simply due to small differences in the game's dynamic time of day. When it comes to general performance, we measured a 5 to 10% frame rate advantage for DirectX 11 over DirectX 12. I basically recorded around an hour and a half of synced footage from the start of the game, and at no point did DirectX 12 manage to take a measurable performance lead over DX11, which isn't really all that surprising. Whilst there's always exceptions to the rule, generally speaking, when games are completely GPU bound, meaning that our GPU usage is basically maxed out, DirectX 11 normally holds a small but measurable lead in performance. The primary advantage that DirectX 12 holds is that it is much better equipped for multi-threading, meaning that we are much less likely to hit certain types of CPU bottlenecks than we'd normally see DirectX 11 struggle with. Surprisingly, however, despite how densely populated the world of Dying Light 2 is, I've yet to see any strong evidence of a CPU bottleneck, which, to be honest, kinda blows my mind, and is testament to what I can only assume to be excellent optimization work by the guys over at Techland. As a side note, I found the mouse input in this game to have incredibly low latency when compared to most other games that I've played with similar frame rates. Cyberpunk 2077, Deus Ex Mankind Divided, and Metro Exodus are all games that I've played fairly recently at a similar frame rate to this, but this just feels so much more responsive, and combined with my FreeSync compatible monitor, both DirectX 11 and 12 played fairly nicely. However, neither was flawless. Obviously, by the very nature of performing 5 to 10% slower in my test, DirectX 12 does initially seem to be objectively worse than DirectX 11, though it has to be said that on some systems, particularly those that are on a first generation Ryzen maybe, it's possible that we would see a CPU bottleneck show in DirectX 11, and that's when we could see DX12 outperform DX11 when it comes to average frame rates. To make things even more complicated, however, I did notice that both DX11 and DX12 have their own small little issues. For instance, once we get into the open world, I did notice that DirectX 11 could hit moments of what I'm going to describe as micro stutter. Don't get me wrong, the game was never really hitching or freezing, it was simply having somewhat inconsistent frame pacing, meaning that in those moments the game did feel a little less smooth than normal. I do want to quickly mention that due to the fact that this video was recorded at 60 frames per second, but the game was running much higher, it's unlikely that these sorts of micro stutters are going to be all that visible in the footage you are seeing. So, unfortunately, you're going to have to take my word for it when I say that they can be felt, and that they can be seen in the performance overlay. On the flip side, I never noticed this sort of micro stuttering when playing on DirectX 12, but I did notice the odd bit of hitching. These seem to be related to when the game loads in a new asset or something, as I've noticed that the hitching has massively decreased the further I've got into the game. If we take a quick look at the footage from my initial test run, you'll notice that we are constantly seeing frame time spikes, and honestly, it was very distracting to play. When I started a new game in order to record the side-by-side shots, however, the vast majority of these hitches are gone and the game felt great. Now that I'm in the open world and I think that most general assets have been loaded, the hitches are not all that frequent. Right now, as I make this video, I'm still not sure which API I'm going to stick with for the rest of my playthrough. Rather than picking which gives me the highest average frame rates, I feel like I'm going to have to pick based on which of the downsides I find less frustrating, and I think that's going to be DirectX 12 because it seems like the more I play, the less of an issue it's going to be, whereas I am worried that the opposite may happen for DirectX 11. For now though, that's once again going to be me done for today. If you've got any questions, suggestions or feedback, then please let me know by leaving us a message in the comment section below. If you are new to the channel, we would really appreciate it if you could tap that subscribe button and ring that bell so that you'll be notified of our future uploads. And with that said, from myself and everybody here at the Sapphire Tech YouTube channel, thank you so much for stopping by and watching, and until next time, we'll catch you later. Bye bye.